Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on August 10th, 2021 at approximately 10:38 a.m. PST. Well, things have gotten really off kilter and I'm not getting out every day I'm not getting on to do a recording every day. And that's a question of just simply not staying focused. You undoubtedly have the same problem in varying degrees. With that in mind, don't beat yourself black and blue. There's nothing you can do about the fact that you've missed days that you were supposed to do it, or that you did things on days that you shouldn't have been doing. The fact of the matter is that right here, right now, we're all in exactly the same boat. How we got to where we are is the same place. We're still right here, right now. This is the only time in the world, in existence, it's the only time you can ever do anything. Now, granted, you can beat yourself black and blue for the next several years if you'd like on something you should have done. You know the old saying, if I only knew then what I know now. Well, let's face it, you didn't. You can't do anything about it. But what you can do is take a look at what you wish you had done then and see if it's still viable to do it now. If you wanted to celebrate your 20th birthday or your 19th birthday by going out to the bar, and you didn't, and now you're 20 years old, sorry, you're not going out to the bar on your 19th birthday. Okay, but if that's what you consider a birthday, and you're not dead, there's no reason you can't go out and celebrate your birthday anyway. It just won't be your 19th one. Now, don't get me wrong, I gave up going out to the bar decades ago. Okay, and rest assured, I used to live at the thing. I swear I used to have shareholders. I used to have shares in the place. Mind you, at that time I had a better alcohol selection than many bars did. Okay, which is really sad when you think about it. But I have managed to yesterday. The one thing I did manage to get done was I got my entire desk sorted out. I walked you through the right-hand side here. Left-hand side is now out of the way, and I'm not going to bother explaining that to you at this point. But I will tell you, I managed to get it out of the way, and now the idea is to get on track and stay there. One step at a time, that's all you ever can do. They talk about the first step being the hardest. I'll tell you, the number of times I've made a first step is absolutely remarkable. So apparently it's not that hard to make the first step. The second one is almost a case of trying to balance yourself. It's that third step when you figure out, okay, I've got the second foot moved. Now I desire to carry on moving forward. That's the one that is really of importance. Now, I was really happy, okay, because I turned around and right at the end of last month, I've gone, okay, I'm starting over with the whole 9 yards. So I backed things up, and on that little sheet, here, I'll grab it for you. This little sheet here, I keep that obviously right above my desk, says I have legally attended a minimum of $2,000 by August 31st of 2021 at 23:59. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's 1 minute to midnight. Of course, 23:59 is the military version. Okay, that's the 24-hour clock. Now, I wrote that, and within 2 days, I was almost at that point, and I've still got 2 paychecks and a contract coming in. So will I make that goal? Absolutely. Okay, but that is one of the tools that I use regularly, and I strongly suggest you use the same tool. That the 2,000 I put is simply the amount of money required to run your house. That includes rent or mortgage, because realistically, a mortgage is renting from the bank. A rent, your rent, mortgage, utilities, food, insurance, all of that. That was the other nice thing I found out. Because I had ended up with a little extra money, I went, gee, I should go and double check and make sure I've got house insurance. Well, I went to the insurance company, And it turns out I already had a house insurance. I was looking at it going, okay, how much is it going to cost me to get it? Turns out I already had it. So apparently I'm working ahead of myself. Again, it was another piece of prosperous good news. Now, the reason I'm telling you about it is not to say, hey, look at me, I'm having a great day. Because there are many of you out there that are struggling like there is no tomorrow. Okay, well, rest assured, there is tomorrow and there will be struggles tomorrow. But if we minimize the negative and we maximize the positive, then as a world, as coexisting individuals, working together, we can make this a better world. Now, if you agree, now, here's an idea. Just thought of it, actually. If you agree that working together, we can make this a better world for most people, I'd appreciate a thumbs up on the video, subscribe to my channel, and share the daylights out of it. Don't forget to hit the alert button to let you know when the newest video comes out. Because the one thing I've returned to really do is bring a message forth to the entire population in existence. You'll notice I didn't say on the planet. I mean in existence. Okay, that working together, we can make this a better world for most people. Now, there will almost always be people that do not follow that philosophy. And we can't do anything about that. You cannot essentially control other people. You can't control how they behave. All you can do is control how you respond to it. Okay, and rest assured, I'm not perfect by any functional stretch. If I were perfect, I'd have this shaved off every morning. Because frankly, it's way too hot to keep it, so what'll end up happening sometime today, likely today, depending on if the temperature around me drops enough, is I'll remove most of this, although rest assured, the sideburns are staying. I think a lot of the attachment I have to the sideburns is because of the fact that my father had them for as long as I can recall. And, I'd had some complications with my dad prior to him passing. On his deathbed, he apologized to me for keeping my belief structure, keeping me feeling like I was a complete wingnut, right? He listed off everything, literally. My psychic experiences, my alien abductions, my alien interactions, my past life memories, my run-ins with military laboratories, my odd interactions and what have you. And he listed it all off and he says, I have to tell you, every single one of these items is absolutely accurate. I just could not tell you. Okay. So he laid all these out. Now, that was the last thing he said to anybody. It's sad to say, I'm kind of mixed opinion. I'm glad he passed away before this whole disaster hit here. My dad passed away at 81 years. Now, if that's any indication, that means I've still got another, if I go for the 80 years, I'm 58 now, so I got another, 20 years anyway. I'm aiming for another 40 or 50, and I know that's pushing it. But given that I already know, and the scientists already know that, and know this, every cell in the human body, every cell in the corporeal body has a perfect blueprint for a perfectly healthy body. And what the Terran researchers have discovered is that every cell in the human body replaces itself every 7 years. Meaning there's no functional reason why I should have to get into worse shape as I get older. Okay, so I'm aiming at getting into better shape, into improving my eyesight, my pancreas, to get my body working properly. Working on getting my heart working so I can actually bring my pulse down. I've managed to bring my blood pressure down. And bear in mind, every single thing I do, you can do as well. There's nothing stopping you except your own belief structure. Which is why the only 3 laws I ever promote, okay, and everything really fits into this, okay, and check it out for yourself. The three laws I promote are: be true to yourself first, do unto others as you desire them to do unto you, and energy out, energy in. take a look at whatever guidelines, whatever philosophies you're looking at that you live by, and see if they fit into those three. If you find one that does not, please give me drop me a line at one of the contacts below, or leave a comment on the video here. I do my best to get back to all of them. And I'm not great at it, but I do my best. Okay. Because the reality for me is, if there's one that's missing and that it doesn't fit, then I have a problem. And I've got to adjust my philosophies and my thinking. But for the moment, it's been working really well. Okay. So the big thing for me is taking this type of video, the journey, and spreading the word across the world. Okay, actually beyond the world, but to all people in existence. Now, not everybody has a computer. Not everybody speaks English. Heck, not everybody speaks a human language. I mean, take a look at your dogs. It's wonderful. I remember I was asked by one person, I was literally told, look, when you're talking to dogs, would you please speak English? And I looked at the individual and went, now, why would I do that? They don't speak English. Right. But I've been talking to animals since I was a kid. Okay. Now, do I get them to do all sorts of tricks? You know, would you please go get me a coffee, this sort of thing? Heck, I can't get people to actually do what I ask most of the time. So I just came to the conclusion, I'll put the tools out that I personally use. Okay, the same tools, the same philosophies that if they apply to me, I'm using every day myself. Can I guarantee they'll work for you? Well, I could lie and say yes, but realistically, no. I can tell you that I like the way Wayne Gretzky put it. He was talking about hockey, but it applies to life. And what he said was, you may miss 95% of the shots you don't take, that you take, but you will miss 100% of the ones you don't take. So if you're sitting there going, I've got a dream, I'd like to be, you know, you could go, I'd like to be a great singer, I'd love to be a superstar. If you never get in front of people to sing, it'll never happen. Okay, if you get in front of people to sing, it is possible it will happen. Now, my understanding is it's, you know, you might get 1% of the population. Given the number of professional singers, I'd be inclined to say you're looking at closer to 0.01%, if you're lucky. And if you're lucky and you push for it. Okay. Now, I did come to the conclusion, I did a video a while ago about this. When you've got a goal in mind, regardless of what it is, first rule of thumb, get everything out of the way. Anything that is not working towards that goal, modify what it is so it's not at least holding you back. Okay, now in order to be successful, and let's be clear, the only person in existence that can be successful for you is you. Okay, now in order to be successful, I did discover this. First of all, you have to have a purpose. And in order to have said purpose, you really have to be clear in your own head of what you consider success. Now, you may consider success simply running a household that works smoothly. Okay, and that is a fantastic goal. Lord knows, homemaking, as in taking care of a house, raising a family, or simply being there for that special someone when they come home, is one of the most undervalued skills in existence, in my opinion. Okay, it's not the most wasted skill. Okay, but get an idea of what it is. When you've got a goal that you desire to attain, take everything that is stopping that from happening and move it sideways. Alter the energy around it so that everything points towards that goal. You get focused on that goal, and you will get there. It is not going to be a quick trip in all likelihood. Okay, once in a while, like with Kelly Clarkson, okay, on the first American Idol, she went from totally unknown to a superstar overnight. Okay, that can happen. I wouldn't hold my breath waiting for it. But with that in mind, stay working on it. Now, I started writing when I was 10. Sorry, I was 15 approximately. I was in grade 10. And I now have a number of books, as I've mentioned before, in print. My primary goal where it comes to the books is to get the entire series written. Well, the reality of it is this, and I'm just looking to make sure I give you the right information. There we are. At this point, I am almost a quarter of the way through writing the overall saga. Okay, now the saga runs 12 books. My goal is to get them all written. Okay, before I drop dead. Which eventually I will do. I've done it before. You know, for me, death is not something to fear. It's just simply, it's one of those inconveniences. Kind of mucks up your day for the day. You know, a heart attack really takes precedence over anything else. You know, trying to do whatever you do and all of a sudden your heart stops, you hit the floor, it really screws up your plans. Okay, but I've done it before. So, does it bother me? I'm not looking forward to another one, don't get me wrong. This is entirely why I've changed my diet. I've changed my exercise routine. I've changed my sleeping pattern. Well, tried to change my sleeping pattern. That hasn't gone well. But I have gotten a lot more organized on what I'm doing. Okay. So you first of all have to have a purpose. My purpose is simple. Me. Yeah, I'm being selfish in this case. These are goals that I desire to attain. Then you have to have a plan. Now the plan is neat. I take a sheet, I keep a little list of goals that I've got to get done to get things out of the way. And I'll tell you, getting my office desk cleared again was absolutely critical in being able to work in it. Okay, try it yourself. If your office is cluttered, you're probably finding your thinking is a little scattered, a little bit off kilter. If you happen to spend a lot of time working in your bedroom, like for instance, if you're trying to write songs, and you do it in your bedroom, okay, nothing wrong with that. Pick wherever you're comfortable. But if your bedroom is cluttered, you'll find that the songs don't come quite as smoothly, and that's because the energy is jammed. So get a plan together. And remember, it's going to take time. You're going to have to build the basic steps first. Once you've got the basic steps in place, build on them. Okay. Now, the reality of it is people talk about these things called pyramid schemes. Think about it. Just take a set of blocks, okay, and you stack the blocks in just a straight row. To get things on top to build higher, you stack the next set on top of them, overlapping, so they end up forming a pyramid. Intriguingly enough, if you do that, okay, it will stand much better than if you take the dice and you stack them one on top of each other. Okay, so you're looking at that triangle. Okay, pyramid, the stablest of the pyramids. And I said, yep, I got one right here. The others I took out. This one, sure, it's going to argue. Yes, I'm a gamer. Okay, I play Dungeons and Dragons. I admit it, I've been doing it since 1976. And the story, the Yldrbacian Chronicles, are written by a gamer with gamers in mind. The most stable form is this triangle. Okay, it's a three-sided triangle. Okay, if you look at the bottom of it, okay, whoop, there you go. Those three points. That is the fewest number of points that you can have where you can take something and set it down and have it absolutely stable so you can move it around. Don't believe me? Take a ladder or take yourself. You know, you've got two legs. Are you perfectly stable? If somebody pushes on one side of you, are you going to stay stable? Okay. So, I mean, take a look at that. So, you've got to have a plan. Once you've got the plan, it's going to take persistence. You're going to have to keep coming back to it. If you fall off the wagon, if you fall off track of what you were doing, it's annoying, but get back on as quick as you can and start forward again. Watch the way a child is when they learn to walk. They get up, they take that first couple of tentative steps, they fall down often, you have to pick them back up. But if you desire something strongly enough, you'll keep pushing for it. It took me 43 years. Well, actually, in all fairness, Birth of the Wolf Pack came out in 2019. Right. So, well, that's what, 2 years. So it took me 43 years to actually get in 40. Let me think. I think about 43 years to actually get into print. You know, to take my idea from the original thought to the actual book. Okay, it does take time, so it takes the persistence and it takes patience. You've got to realize that whatever your goal, it may well be life-changing. Like the last that I helped years ago, she came to me. She was 52 when I met her. She really desired and was kicking herself in the pants because she hadn't gone after her nursing degree, or after her doctorate rather, when she was a kid. And she really, really was upset with herself. So I talked to her for about 6 months, 15 minutes a week sort of thing. And at 53 years old, she entered medical school. Okay. And like I told her, it's a great goal. Go after it. Granted, by the time you get your MD, your medical license, by the time you become an actual doctor, you're not going to have a lot of time before you hit the 65 suggested retirement age. But doctors don't seem to retire at 60. At 65. Well, I worked with her over the next 7 years, the length of her classes, and she got her MD at 60. So as long as you're not dead, there are a few reasons why you can't accomplish goals. There are some that are way beyond you. Like, for instance, if you had this goal, and this is taking it to extremes, but if you had this goal to become a marathon runner and you lose a leg, okay, it may be a little bit difficult to run. Okay, that might create a problem. If you lose both of them, you're not running. But that doesn't mean you can't enter a marathon. Okay, it just means you got to modify your approach. If you desire to become a pilot and you end up losing both eyes, guess what? You're not becoming a pilot anymore. It's just not going to happen. It's a cute thought. And I have seen a mock-up of it done, quite by accident in all fairness. Actually, I shouldn't say I saw it. My dad, who lived at the airport at the time, lived at and worked at it, saw an aircraft come in. And long story short, there were mitigating circumstances, but the pilot come off the plane, with the flight cap, with the dark, airline glasses, and a seeing eye dog. And it was just priceless because, I kid you not, apparently 3/4 of the people that had come in on that plane, it was just stopping over for an hour stop. Just a refueling thing. Right. 3/4 of the passengers rebooked their flights on a different flight. Now, a little bit of common sense tells you the pilot isn't the one that's blind. The reality was that on board there was a blind lady that asked the pilot to take her dog out for a walk, just to stretch his legs. So the pilot complied. It just so happened to be a whole bunch of different things that happened together. Okay. Now, so you've got to have the patience to realize it's going to take you a while to get there. That said, once you get there, the feeling is absolutely incredible. I'll tell you, when I had... Oh, I don't have it right here. This is actually printed locally. Okay, so, the books that I've got, every one of the books listed in the list below this video can be ordered directly through me at one of the contact points. But the real thing that I really want you to get straight, okay, is that working together with the input, with the guidance of people that have done it successfully before, you can attain virtually every goal that you've got. Okay, now remember, stick with the karmic laws. That funny little wood sign, that funny little wood sign I've got over there, it actually says, I am worth it. Okay, that is the four most powerful words in sequence that I have run into this lifetime that help get somebody's self-esteem and self-motivation up and running. It's the one reason why I do a lot of what I do, because I feel I am worth it. Now, I will tell you, growing up, I felt I was the other side. And I used to tell myself consistently, I am worth less. Okay, got past that. And this is why, when I talk about being a spiritual guide, the tools I use that I offer you are the same ones I personally put to use myself, if they apply to me. If they don't apply to me, I've got about 80,000 clients under my belt over the, 48 years that I've been doing this. Okay, and that gives me a fair amount of feedback. Now, this is a live reading, I do those too, but this is a live recording, meaning when I get done this video, I'm not going to go back and edit anything. I'm just going to double check the date and then post it. With that in mind, I am going to do my absolute best, and I keep telling myself this, and quite seriously, I feel like I'm talking to myself most of the time. You probably have the same thing, the same problem. I really desire to get this done, and then life gets in the way, and you get sidetracked, and you forget about it, and you end up going, oh, I fell off, I didn't get it done. You know, I'm such a failure. You're not a failure. Okay, yes, you agreed, you did not accomplish what you set out to. But you only lose when you quit trying. You know, when you quit making the effort. The one exception to that is if you're striving to get another person's attention in the way of a boyfriend or a girlfriend, if they say no, regardless of what you feel, what you would like, the moment they say no, regardless of how far involved you are, regardless of what's going on, the moment your prospective partner says no, and that's not the way it's going to go, let them go. Okay, if you tell somebody no, that you don't want to do something, you would rather, and I bet on it, but except I don't bet. I suspect if somebody asks you to do something or says, gee, I'm really interested in you, and you're not interested in them, you'll sit there and go, at least in your own head, but hopefully you'll come out and tell them, no, I'm not interested. Okay, and you would hope that they let you go. Okay, you're not interested, I'll move on. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. Now, with that in mind, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, go back to the back videos that I've done. There's a lot of information out there. And yes, I repeat myself a lot, but that's okay. I will be back again tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other. And for pity's sakes, stay positive.